Part 65. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 643. Xuanhuan. In the Sword Soul Totem world and Zhang Zizai's childhood sworn brothers are naturally not the same person. However, the same totem is a sword, and the names are exactly the same, which is indeed a coincidence. Of course, Zhang Zizai knew that this was just a coincidence. He had met the Xuanhuan, so he naturally knew that he and Monkey were not the same person. Hoer has gone, this is just a person with the same name, Zhang Zizai thought clearly in his heart. The world is so vast, and there are billions of people with the same name. There are probably countless people with the name Zhang Zizai. The Sword Soul Totem world is our competitor in the ancient demon tomb. Among them, Xuanhuan, Zimenshenshu, Zhang Shenhua and others are very powerful. And they are obviously more numerous, Susu said. Cousin, don't forget that we now have the 9 Dragons battle formation. As long as the 9 Dragons battle formation is activated, they will all be no match together, Suemo said confidently. No one objected to this statement. Zhang Zizai knew the terrifying power of the 9 Dragons battle formation. This is your trump card. Once you get in, don't show it or reveal it easily, Zhang Yaokan warned. Yes, third brother is right, third brother is the most considerate, Suemo said with a smile. While waiting, the day for the opening of the ancient demon tomb finally arrived. Li Zixiao and the others had a deeper understanding of the star monument and knew when the ancient demon tomb would be opened. Before the opening, he led everyone to climb down from the tripod foot, crossing many gods along the way. The devil's relief walked up to the edge of the cauldron mouth. In front of them was the abyss-like internal space of the black giant cauldron. It was an endless black void, like a black sheet. Its big mouth swallowed up the essence of the world and gathered it in this giant cauldron. Now there is actually a barrier in the wide mouth of the cauldron, which temporarily prevents everyone from entering the ancient demon tomb. When tens of thousands of them, or even close to 100,000 core geniuses from the Well of God's domain, appeared on the edge of the cauldron, how long did it take for the United States to quietly disappear the barrier? The ancient demon tomb is open. Suddenly, tens of thousands of geniuses from the endless totem world became a sensation. A storm swept through the crowd like a storm. There is endless magic power in the ancient demon tomb that attracts them. When the demon tomb is opened, all those who have qualified for the map star tablet rush to jump into this black giant cauldron. There are also some people who have not obtained the map star tablet at all. There are at least 10,000 such people. They are brought here by people with star tablet qualifications to try their luck and see if they can be brought in. If he hadn't met Li Zixiao and the others, Zhang Zizai would probably have found a way to get Shen Xiao and Ling Xian to follow him in. Among the more than 10,000 people, there were also people who directly followed them in, but when they jumped down, the barrier that had disappeared unexpectedly reappeared, flying the unqualified intruders into the sky, and flew beyond the sky in the blink of an eye. It would be difficult for these people to survive such a strong impact. This also caused many people who wanted to get through the situation to stop in embarrassment and look enviously at others going in, while they could only stay outside. For them, if they stay outside and wait for the people inside to come out, they might still have a chance. As for Zhang Zizai and the other 3, they didn't care that much. Together with Li Zixiao and the other 6, he jumped directly into the thick black mist. They smoothly passed through the barrier and shuttled inside. It was as if they were jumping off a cloud-covered mountain peak, or as if they were descending into a bottomless pit. Finally, he saw the scene below that he had seen on the star monument. There were blood flows crisscrossing the ground, forming grids. Among the interlaced blood flows, huge demon tombs stood here. Every demon tomb seems to be larger than imagined. There were tens of thousands of people around who fell from the sky together. Zhang Zizai originally thought that everyone would disperse near these demon tombs, but he didn't expect that when they were about to land, everyone seemed to be controlled by an invisible force. He couldn't control his body and moved towards the edge of them. A demon tomb fell down. It's not just him, everyone is like this. There are many demon tombs here, but it seems that only one of them has controlled them all. Everyone should be attracted by this demon tomb. This should be the ancient gods' arrangement. These demon tombs, I'm afraid the ancient gods buried them in this place. In just a quarter of an hour, tens of thousands of people landed on the same land. This land was surrounded by blood-colored rivers. The blood-colored rivers were in the shape of a mouth, connecting this land in the positive direction the area is surrounded, which is one of the grids in the blood-colored river grid of the entire demon tomb. In the center of this mouth-shaped river, there is a huge black tombstone. There is only a tombstone and no grave. This is the only place in this area. For the time being, everyone is left next to this demon tomb, but it is obvious that there must be other demon tombs across the bloody river, and this is like the starting point. The combination of 4 mouths is a field, and the combination of countless mouths is a large bloody net, with a tombstone in each grid. Most people will not pay attention to the tombstones in front of them. It is obvious that there will be many competitors here, so at least 3/4 of the people immediately move towards the surroundings. They want to cross the river and reach the distance to see other tombstones. Is there any good fortune? Because of the experience of the Star Monument, everyone basically speculated that the test and the fortune bestowed by the ancient gods must be in the tombstone. Can't get through. No way to get through. But soon, 3/4 of the people were intercepted, because when they were full of interest and wanted to find other tombstones, they found that they could not get through this bloody river at all. There was a similar barrier above the river, which completely locked tens of thousands of them around this tombstone. Some people flew to the sky, wanting to leave here from the sky, and naturally found that this was a place where you can get in but not get out. Someone designed all this and made the rules of the game. Now I'm afraid that it limits what we can do in this demon tomb. The game has just begun. If you want to play here, you must follow the designer's rules of the game, Zhang Zizai pondered. You are wrong, Li Zixiao said. What's wrong? One word is wrong. It's not someone designed all this, but the ancient gods designed all this and set the rules of the game for selection. No, look at the sky. Li Zixiao pointed to the sky. Zhang Zai looked up and was instantly shocked. Above their heads, there was a golden wheel flying. The wheel looked very thin, a bit like a gear flying in the sky. You can vaguely see human figures on the gear, and there are even better ones. They are looking down from above, examining everyone below. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 644. Here have gathered the top talents of the entire well of the God realm, and the talents of countless totem worlds. Who else but the ancient gods can set rules for games and selections? Zhang Zizai did not expect that the ancient gods really appeared. Although he did not see clearly, his feelings told him that the beings on the golden roulette must be beyond mortals. They use the ancient demon tomb to select, and they are high above and control the fate of the geniuses. This is the will of God, and everyone must obey it. The golden roulette has been above his head, obviously to observe it all the time. Thinking of so many ancient gods' eyes falling on him, no matter who it is, he will feel creepy. That is the eternal God, the ultimate dream of totem warriors. Don't worry, we just need to concentrate on the game. Li Zixiao put away the awe in his heart and focused on the present. The key point at present is likely to be on the only demon tomb. Now there are many people approaching there, and they are naturally vying for it. Li Zixiao forced his way through, allowing many people who were on the bad road to avoid him. They were strong and deserved the best position. In a place like the ancient demon tomb, strength really determines status and opportunity. Li Zixiao had already obtained a very advantageous position, so he did not continue to move forward. They were still low-key. In this position where they could clearly see the contents on the tombstone, they sat cross-legged and began to study. The tomb of the ancient demon Xuanhuan. There was nothing on the tombstone in between, only these blood-red characters. These 7 characters were written in a domineering and magnificent manner. They did not look like the inscriptions on the tombstone at all. Instead, they looked like the deceased had written his life on the characters. The unruly fighting spirit and heroic personality revealed in the characters, as well as the extraordinary strength and courage, seemed to be felt by tens of thousands of spectators. Studying this tombstone and the characters may yield some results, Suemo hurriedly said to Zhang Ziyi, and together with the others, he completely shifted his sights to the black tombstone. For a moment, the entire ancient demon tomb seemed to be silent. Looking around, everyone was watching intently, and most people looked confused. The scene was similar to that on Tianxin Mountain. It seems that this ancient demon tomb is just an upgraded version of Tianxin Mountain. The difference is that there are ancient gods directly examining it. Zhang Zizai had such an idea. After all, one is a tombstone and the other is a star monument. Obviously, it will never be that simple. How can it be so simple to select people to enter the divine domain? At present, it is equivalent to opening only one tombstone, and no one knows what will happen next. But now people know that whoever makes a move on this tombstone first will take the lead. It can be said that the current situation is still very tense. Zhang Zizai's attention is also completely on these 7 characters. The tomb of the ancient demon Xuanhuan. What kind of mystery exists in these 7 characters? Is this a battle tactic or something else? Zhang Zizai discovered for the first time that the mystery on this tombstone completely surpassed the starry sky star monument, because he spent at least a quarter of an hour, but was still confused like most people. Everyone also subconsciously thought that this tombstone needed to be comprehended because they comprehended the star monument. Is there any other trick? Zhang Zizai was also considering other possibilities. In the tense atmosphere, he was calm and kept thinking. When he was really puzzled, he performed the Tegzi universe soul refining technique, and his soul escaped into the river of time, rested for a while, and then came back to observe. After going through this process, he was indeed much more comfortable. He began to feel something different from the momentum of the text. The world has endless sources of heaven, which are the root power of heaven and earth, and the rule power of heaven and earth. Whether it is the ancient gods or the ancient demons, they should all control the existence of the source of heaven, and their every move contains the mystery of the source of heaven. These 7 characters are full of momentum. Although they are motionless, is it possible that all their momentum and will contain the mystery of the source of heaven? This is his guess. When he began to guess in this direction, he found that it was better to feel what the dead ancient demon wanted to express in these words than to rack his brains to think. Maybe it is his will, maybe it is his destiny, maybe it is everything he controls. It seems that it is indeed in line with this. Although there is no harvest for the time being, after the guidance, when Zhang Zizai's eyes fell on the text, he felt it for a long time, and seemed to be immersed in the emotions of the owner of the text. When he was deeply immersed in it, some pictures began to flash in front of his eyes. Those pictures were very blurry. It seemed to be a world-shaking battle. Someone was taking action. Zhang Zizai saw a sword, with sword shadows surging and blood flowing like a river. Boom boom boom. The surging sound of fighting sounded in his mind. Is there hope? Zhang Zizai was a little excited. He felt that he seemed to be infinitely close to this tombstone. He was already trying his best to see the picture clearly, to feel the power and heavenly source, when the owner of the text took action. In the destruction, the world turned upside down. Just when he was about to go down, the scene suddenly stopped. His head felt a little stinging. When he came back to his senses, he found that the tombstone was still the same, the text was motionless, but there seemed to be many people around him who were just like him. There was a lot of discussion about the forced exit. Why did you suddenly fail? Zhang Zizai was about to continue maintaining his previous state. He felt that if this continued, he might have a very good chance. At this time, a huge change occurred. The 7 blood-colored words on the tombstone, including Tomb of Ancient Demon Xiao Zhantian, suddenly began to twist. The strokes merged and entangled with each other, as fast as a swimming dragon. Under the attention of everyone, the twisting words, the moving strokes, were regrouped and turned into 3 big characters. Zhang Fanchen. That's right, those 3 big characters are Zhang Fanchen. Who is Zhang Fanchen? Zhang Zizai had never heard of this person with the same surname as himself. But after the name appeared, people instantly remembered the noise. Zhang Zizai vaguely heard the words "Little Holy Emperor" from their shocked, admired, and awed voices. At this moment, a whirlpool opened in the sky not far ahead. In the whirlpool, a black longsword appeared first. The black longsword descended instantly and appeared on the head of a young man in gold robe. Superior. This sword seems to be killing gods, Zhang Zizai discovered in shock, which made him feel extremely incredible. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 645. In the envious eyes of everyone, the sword was held by the young man in golden robe. He easily accepted it. Standing in Zhang Zizai's position, he could only vaguely see the young man's back, but it could be roughly judged that he should be one of the most talented beings in the world of endless totems. Zhang Zizai figured it out. It is very likely that this person was the first to fix this tombstone, so his name appears on the tombstone. Although this method is a bit scary, as the first person to comprehend, he must have seized the opportunity, and there will be future opportunities. Huge gain. This guy should be the little holy emperor Zhang Fanchen. Zhang Zizai's eyes flashed. In fact, all this was purely based on his own guess. Just when he was still guessing, a second thing actually fell from the vortex above the young man's head and reached his hand. Zhang Zizai only looked at it for a moment from too far away. It seemed to be a black figure. The small colored cauldron is only about the size of a palm, and its appearance should be the same as the giant black cauldron outside. Tripod. Seeing that he had harvested this thing, Zhang Zizai clearly felt that the rules of the game in the ancient demon tomb were not that simple. Not only was the understanding here so rough, there must be terrible secrets and tests waiting for them. The young man in gold robe quickly put away the small black cauldron. Apparently he himself thought that this might be the next key thing. What Zhang Zizai didn't expect was that just after the black cauldron, a third thing appeared immediately. 3 things appeared in succession, which showed that the rewards he had received now were really numerous. The third thing seemed to be a piece of parchment the size of a palm. Zhang Zizai only looked at it for a moment. Naturally, he could not clearly see what was written on it. There were vague words or lines, but the young man in gold robe quickly took out the 3 items. Everything was put away. At this time, he was actually the focus of everyone's attention, but he didn't seem to be afraid at all. He stood with his hands behind his back. When so many treasures came to him, no one around him dared to fight for them. Is this person called Zhang Fanchen? Has he already understood this tombstone? Has it been changed to his name? Zhang Ziyu asked Suemo when everyone was suffocating. Yes, it's this dog. Unexpectedly, Sumo's attitude was very bad. Zhang Zizai took a closer look and found that the faces of the 6 of them were all gloomy. It seemed that this young man named Zhang Fanchen, or the enemy of their hidden dragon totem world. Who is this person? Zhang Zizai asked. After all, he had already taken the lead and was faster than Zhang Zizai. He wanted to know more about it. People from the Holy Emperor Totem world. Their world occupies the most central position in the central totem world. Their father, the Holy Emperor, is the controller of the Holy Emperor Totem world. So they are called the Little Holy Emperor. In terms of talent, he is the best in the entire divine realm. Well, he is now 17 years old, 1 year younger than us, and is already at the 9th level of Xuanhuan realm. It is really impressive to be able to figure out this tombstone so quickly, Suemo introduced. It was obvious that although he recognized this person's talent, he was still very unhappy with him. Saint Emperor Totem World? What is their totem? Probably, Zhang Zizai didn't quite understand the word Saint Emperor. After all, like the hidden dragon Totem World, the totem is basically a divine dragon. In the world of sword soul totems, totems are basically weapons, with swords being the main ones. It is said that in the divine domain, there is an ancient god called the Holy Emperor. The people in the Holy Emperor's totem world are his exclusive people. This is his exclusive mortal world, so the totems of people in the entire world are this ancient god personally divided his totems and gave them to everyone, so their totems were the soul of the Holy Emperor, which was a very special totem. Everyone seemed to be protected by the Holy Emperor, and they were very special. Difficult, Suemo explained. Can there be such a totem? Zhang Zizai opened his eyes. Sure enough, there are all kinds of wonders in the world. With billions of totems, everything is really possible, Zhang Yaokan said next to him. His face didn't look too good either, so Zhang Zizai asked, are we having trouble with this person? It's not just a festival. My brother's eyes still seem to be blind, thanks to this Zhang Fanchen. This person is arrogant and sinister, domineering and domineering. He looks playful and smiling, but he is actually a shameless person, Suemo said with disdain. Is he so powerful? Zhang Zizai thought, it is indeed a bit too outrageous to let Li Zixiao suffer such a disadvantage. He is indeed the most core figure in the world of countless totems. Mao, he also has a sister who is 19 years old and is also at the 9th level of the Tianyuan realm. Her title is Princess Holy Enlightenment and her name is Zhang Fanchen. The two of them are in the same boat. They formed a rift in the first place and they did it together. That's all. Otherwise, how could my elder brother suffer? Suemo said disdainfully. Zhang Zizai took a look, and now they seemed to be preparing to leave. In a blur, Zhang Zizai did see a woman in a white dress surrounded by a group of people from the Holy Emperor Totem world. Like stars holding the moon, the woman's his posture was very high, and he disappeared into the crowd side by side with Zhang Fanchen. Tens of thousands of people coveted their creation, but no one seemed to dare to block his way. Stop talking. Other demon tombs seem to be opened, hurry up, Suemo suddenly said. After Zhang Fanchen obtained this demon tomb, some people speculated whether other demon tombs had been opened. Facing the tombstone that had no longer had Yu Shui and had been renamed Zhang Fanchen, people no longer had any interest and left in all directions. It's indeed turned on. For a while, people found that the blood rivers in the 4 directions of southeast, northwest, and northeast could pass through, and the barriers in them had disappeared. 4 tombs were opened at once. Everyone basically thought so. Li Zixiao also led everyone to the east. They crossed the blood river very quickly and came to a new piece of land. There was a brand new tombstone in this land. There were also 4 tombstones adjacent to this tombstone, one of which was the tomb of the ancient demon Xiao Zhantian in the west. After Li Zixiao came here, he saw that there were still people going to the blood river in other directions. It was soon clear that they had passed the blood river again, which meant that not only 4 demon tombs were opened this time, but there might be more, and even all demon tombs might have been opened. In this case, it was unnecessary to stay in the most crowded position at the moment. Let's see how many tombstones were opened. Li Zixiao led everyone to shuttle back and forth between the blood rivers. When Zhang Fanchen comprehended the first tombstone just now, it took about half an hour. It wouldn't take them long to investigate the specific situation. It took about a quarter of an hour to shuttle through this river of blood. After counting all the inhabited grids, he found that in addition to the tomb of the ancient demon Xiao Zhantian, a total of 10 tombstones were opened. These 10 tombstones surrounded the tomb of the ancient demon Xiao Zhantian. Now tens of thousands of people were completely scattered around these 10 tombstones. There were about thousands of people in front of each tombstone, making it look a lot emptier. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 646. There is no need to stay together all the time. Go find a suitable tombstone by yourself. Each person takes a god-guiding ring and can find each other's position. Don't quarrel with others, Li Zixiao quickly arranged. The god-guiding ring is a totem magic weapon. Li Zixiao has a total of 9 in his hand, which are made in a set. This kind of totem magic weapon has no lethality, but it can attract each other and guide each other's position. After wearing the god-guiding ring, there is no need to worry about getting separated in this ancient demon tomb. Although Zhang Zizai is in great danger after being separated from them, it is even more meaningless for everyone to stay in front of a tombstone and compete with each other. At least Su Mo and the others have the ability to act alone, so the 5 of them left directly. Zhang Zizai, if the 3 of you go alone, it will be dangerous, so come with me, Li Zixiao said. It doesn't matter. We have a way to save our lives. Besides, there is nothing to do. Generally, there will be no conflict with others. If there is nothing to gain, we will come back, Zhang Zizai said. He didn't want to stay here, so as not to compete with Li Zixiao. Okay, Li Zixiao quickly entered the state. In fact, he was the most troublesome because he couldn't see the tombstone, so Zhang Zizai didn't know how he could comprehend it. Judging from his serious feeling, he should have a way. After wearing the God Guidance Ring, Zhang Zizai went to look at other tombstones with the 3 of them. You guys come with me, Zhang Zizai asked. Doesn't that mean there is no hope at all? Shen Xiao rolled his eyes. That makes sense, at least they felt that it was impossible to compete with Zhang Zizai. It's better to compete with others. The tombstone may be the power of the heavenly source. Finding the one that matches your own heavenly source may be faster, Zhang Zizai reminded them. Smart Shen Xiao gave him a thumbs up, obviously she hadn't realized this problem yet. That's right. It's a pity that you are still not as fast as Zhang Fanchen, Shen Xiao laughed. That's right, I am a small figure, how can I compare with this kind of person? He is probably as powerful as the god of hell, the god of Xuanhuan, etc. Zhang Zizai can still face the gap. No more talking, hurry up. She and Lingxian left together, and it was estimated that they would leave each other next. Zhang Zizai walked forward alone. The front of these 10 tombstones was very lively, and it was impossible to squeeze in. The most powerful people were in the front. He watched from a distance, and then quickly judged whether this tombstone was suitable for him. The Tianyuan power revealed by the words on the tombstone could be felt. At least Zhang Zizai felt that the first few tombstones were not so suitable for him. Until he crossed several blood rivers and found a tomb of the ancient demon Dugyuwu. Dugyuwu, this is a strange name. The will was revealed between the handwriting and the text. Zhang Zizai quickly felt that the Tianyuan of this ancient demon was a kind of destructive effect. He decided to stay here in an instant, and judging from the Divine Seal realm, there were no other people from the hidden dragon totem world here, and there was no conflict. The terrain in front of this tombstone happened to be more complicated, and Zhang Zizai could not be in the closest position. After all, there were people above the 5th level of the Tianyuan realm everywhere around. He found a suitable observation position on a low hill and sat down cross-legged in it. Of course, there were not too many places in front of each tombstone. All the people who had just entered the tomb of the ancient demon Xiao Zhantian were crowded together. Now, although there were only thousands of people, and they were still on the surrounding mountains, Zhang Zizai could also see other people moving around. Some walked and stopped, and some sat down to study with all their strength, without interfering with each other. Zhang Zizai had just sat down and was interrupting his concentrated study when three people came from the side, two men and one woman. The two men surrounded the woman in the middle. The woman was very pretty, wearing a light blue long skirt, with a perfect posture, but her face was a little cold. The two men beside her seemed like brothers, with similar looks and cold faces, but they smiled and tried to please the woman. Sister Shui, this position is good. The elder brother among the brothers pointed to Zhang Zizai at this position and said that although it was far away, the view was indeed very good because it was high enough. They came here specifically. Then choose this place and drive that person away, the girl called Sister Snow said. I'll do it. The younger brother walked up directly. He couldn't help laughing and said, the aura of Tianyuan on you is so weak. You can't be below the third level of Tianyuan realm. It's rare for someone with this strength to come in. What's the matter? Zhang Zizai asked. He was interrupted just after he was in a trance, so he was naturally a little depressed. Make way for us. We have our eyes on this place. I am Lenkang from the Ice Totem world. This is our Snow King's daughter Shui Benji and my brother Leng Han. If you don't accept it, we can beat you up and throw you down, the young man said with a smile. Zhang Zizai took a look and saw that this Lenkang was at least the 5th level of Tianyuan realm. Shui Benji over there was probably about the same, and his brother's cultivation was even higher. Any of the three could easily throw him off the mountain. In this situation, although he was depressed, he still had to seize the time to comprehend, so he stood up without saying a word and gave them the place. After all, it would be a waste of time to entangle with them here. He changed to another hilltop. Although the location was a little worse, at least no one would bother him. The three of them occupied the place, and I could vaguely hear them talking. This guy is so cowardly. He didn't even dare to fart when he heard our names and ran away. That's because the two brothers are powerful enough. I really don't know how this kind of person got in. It's a waste of quota. Let's not talk about it for now. We have to think about it carefully. If we can be like the little Saint Emperor, I'm afraid we will even have a chance to enter the god's domain, the girl said delicately. Zhang Zizai was annoyed by them and walked a little further away. He was a little depressed because of the delay. However, he immediately focused his attention on the tomb of the ancient demon Duguwu. Tianyuan. The font of these 7 characters is different from the previous tomb of the ancient demon Xiaozhan Tian. The 7 characters belong to the type of flying dragons and dancing phoenixes, which are cursive characters. But the 7 characters in front of me, every stroke is very sharp, as if they are made up of swords, and the sharpness of these 7 characters can be felt from a distance. Under the sharp edge, there is a kind of irritable will, a kind of unstoppable momentum, and a belief of burning everything together. Confirmed. 7 chapters will be updated next Monday to make up for the previous update. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 647. Perhaps because of his empathy, Zhang Zizai quickly integrated into it. When his mind was completely immersed in the atmosphere of the heavenly source power, the scenery in front of him changed again. In a trance, he saw the battlefield again, but the protagonists seemed to have changed. In this place where huge limbs and arms were everywhere, and blood was flowing everywhere, the existence seemed to have a bow and an arrow in his hand. He stood at the far end of the battlefield, but he had the will to tear everything apart. Under his bow and arrow, everything was broken, even the extremely far away enemies seemed to be directly penetrated in an instant. Whoosh! Zhang Zizai saw an arrow flying out. It was a straight trajectory. He saw everything along the way, all directly broken in front of this arrow, and even turned into nothingness. Destruction is to turn all existence into non-existence, and to transform all entities into nothingness. Zhang Zizai felt a little enlightened. He was completely immersed in it, looking at the trajectory of each arrow and the damage caused by each arrow. In fact, Many details showed the high-end control of this kind of power similar to the source of destruction. This is not the real source of destruction, but all this complexity and mystery is enough for Zhang Zizhe to get many answers he wants. The world, all things, the universe, everything will disappear after being penetrated. Living beings and vitality will turn into nothingness, not death. Death is also a kind of existence. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The arrow's shadows kept changing in front of his eyes. In this invisible space, his vision became clearer. The essence of all things in the world and the root of destruction were closer. This was a personal experience of the power from the level of gods and demons. In the destruction of their power, Zhang Zizhe gradually found his own way. The picture in front of him became clearer and clearer. Suddenly, Zhang Zizhe saw it. The ancient demon called Guduwu stared at him and said, "You have opened this path. Follow the remaining map and you will find the answer." What does this mean? Zhang Zizhe was shocked and suddenly found that his source of destruction was extremely hot. This was a sign of a breakthrough. He never expected that comprehending the changes of this tombstone would actually allow him to improve his control over the source of destruction. The power between heaven and earth gathered crazily. When he had a new mindset and a new realm, the source of destruction really changed again. From the second level of the source realm, he broke through to the third level of the source realm. The boiling source of the source gathered and expanded. The patterns of the black petals became more complex and swirled. The eternal dragon also grew stronger. After constantly visualizing and wandering, Zhang Zizhe's realm was stabilized. I broke through. This was definitely an unexpected gain for Zhang Zizhe. He didn't expect that such a comprehension could actually improve his realm. For him, such a gain was already huge enough. What he didn't expect was that Du Guwu's words brought him a new shock. At this time, Zhang Zizhe calmed down from the realm growth. When he exited the world of the tombstone, he suddenly found that the tombstone in front of him was different. There were 3 big characters written on it, and every stroke of each character was as sharp and dazzling as a sword. Those 3 characters were Zhang Zizhe. This was his name, which appeared on the tombstone. Although it was a bit unlucky, Zhang Zizhe was a little confused. He didn't expect that he would succeed like this. So what was the harvest? First of all, the transformation of the realm, finally reaching the third level of the Tianyuan realm. Then, just when he was doubting, a vortex appeared above his head. Then, treasures began to descend. Zhang Zizhe looked up and saw that the golden roulette in the sky was above his head. It seemed that these things were given to him by the figure on the roulette. Are those really ancient gods? The first thing that descended was a bow and an arrow. The golden bow, the bow body was like 2 dragons with their tails connected. Zhang Zizhe suddenly understood that the name of this bow was Holy Soul Sky Bow. As for the arrow, it is an invisible arrow, with only a shadow but no entity. It will only appear when Zhang Zizhe pinches it on the bowstring. It is called the soul-piercing heart arrow. These bows and arrows are all dry-level totem magic weapons, which are envied by the initial god realm. They are not the same as the bows and arrows of the ancient demon Duguwu, but they have the same purpose. This is like an extra reward given to him by those people in the roulette wheel. They cannot shoot destructive arrows like the power of the ancient demon Duguwu, but they have extra lethality, that is, lethality to the soul. The uniqueness and preciousness of this totem magic weapon lies in the fact that it can cause damage to the soul at a very far distance. It is called the soul-piercing heart arrow, which is enough to kill invisibly. It is definitely an outlier among the dry-level totem magic weapons. It is an outlier, so it is more attractive. Of course, this is only part of the reward. When Zhang Zizhe put away the Holy Soul Sky Bow and the soul-piercing heart arrow, the second treasure arrived. As expected, it was a small black tripod. Zhang Zizhe took it in his hand and could only feel the coldness of the touch. He didn't know what material the small black tripod was made of, and he couldn't see through it at all. Zhang Zizai was familiar with the relief of the black giant tripod outside. Judging from the relief, this small black tripod was a smaller version of the black giant tripod outside, and the relief on it was exactly the same. What is the use of this small tripod? He believed that the little Holy Emperor of the Holy Emperor Totem world would definitely have the same curiosity. While he was waiting, the third congratulations arrived. Just like Zhang Fanchen, a palm-sized parchment fell from the sky. The moment Zhang Zizai saw the parchment, he thought of the words of the ancient demon Dugyuwu, who mentioned the incomplete picture. Could this parchment be the so-called incomplete picture? He picked it up and saw that there were black handwriting on the parchment. The handwriting was very messy and completely irregular, a bit like a work drawn by a child. Moreover, the parchment was obviously incomplete, with traces of tearing around it. Judging from this appearance, there was an 80% chance that the parchment was the incomplete picture. By following the fragments of the map, can I find the answer? Zhang Zizai quickly put away the three things. As the saying goes, wealth should not be exposed. His name has appeared on the tombstone, but fortunately, his location is relatively remote, and not many people in the entire ancient demon tomb know him. Even if they do, they may think he has the same name. Therefore, he is safe now. After all, when the black vortex appeared, there was basically no one around. Now there is a lot of discussion in front of the tombstone, and everyone is discussing who this person named Zhang Zizai is. When they found out that it was a person no one knew, people were particularly shocked. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 648. His last name is Zhang. Maybe he is from the Saint Emperor Totem world, but he just didn't show up before. It should be correct. He is probably a relative of the little Saint Emperor. After all, the only one with the surname Zhang who can comprehend a demon tomb so quickly can be from the Saint Emperor Totem world. People were talking about it, and most people had already started to leave here, because the demon tomb here had been thoroughly understood, and there was no point in staying here. Zhang Zizai was also preparing to get up and go to another place to think about the current gains. At this time, he felt that there were many hot eyes looking at him. Discovered, he was surprised for a moment, and when he looked back, he found that 3 people walked out of the darkness, and the number was not large. Looking closely, it was the 3 who had driven him away before, Xue Benji, Leng Kang and Leng Han from the Frozen Realm. The 3 of them looked at Zhang Zizai with unbelievable expressions, and their faces were full of shock. We can see clearly that you have comprehended the demon tomb. You got 3 treasures, the girl Xue Benji pointed at Zhang Zizai, and her fingers were trembling slightly. He is Zhang Zizai, that must be correct. But, with his realm, how could it be possible? Leng Kang was dumbfounded. He had never expected that the coward who was driven away by him would have such luck. The 3 of them looked at each other. They no longer needed Zhang Zizai to admit it, because they came here after seeing the vortex. They saw with their own eyes the process of Zhang Zizai putting away the parchment. So, what do you want? Zhang Zizai asked. The 3 of them looked at each other, and the oldest Leng Han narrowed his eyes. He quickly changed his position and arrived behind Zhang Zizai. Catch him and take away the treasure without anyone noticing, Leng Han said in a deep voice. Yes, Sister Xue, Leng Kang reminded Xue's Honggai next to him. You guys are quick, Xue Benji said hurriedly. They were still worried that Xue Benji would object. Hearing this, the brothers smiled at each other and started to act without saying anything. Brother, you don't have to do it. I can deal with him myself. You are the 6th level of Tianyuan realm. It's like using a butcher knife to kill a chicken to deal with such a rookie, Leng Kang said with a smile. Okay, but I have to make some arrangements to prevent this person from escaping. Leng Han opened his arms, and the power of his totem quickly emerged, quickly condensing a large number of ice crystals around them. Those ice crystals quickly accumulated into a huge ice and snow sphere, surrounding them. Leng Kang, do it. My ice world will still attract other people's attention, Leng Han said hurriedly. It's just a matter of one move. Leng Kang, who was at the 5th level of Tianyuan realm, laughed. He rushed directly towards Zhang Zizai. When he started, countless ice gathered on his body. A snow and ice halberd suddenly appeared in his hand and chopped Zhang Zizai's head. Go to hell, he not only wanted to rob goods, but also kill people, because this was the only way to be thorough. One move to kill, Leng Kang laughed as he attacked. He was at the 5th level of Tianyuan realm, much more powerful than Shenzhen Gui and the others. When he started, the ice and snow freezing ability in his totem had a huge limit on Zhang Zizai. In this short moment, his lips were almost frozen into purple. With just this little bit of strength, he was able to comprehend a demon tomb. What kind of shit luck is this? Xue Benji is such a beautiful girl, and she couldn't help but swear when she encountered such a thing. The world is so big that there are all kinds of wonders. Sister Xue should be happy because this happened to create us. Leng Han, who froze the surroundings with the ice world, said. In this moment, Zhang Zizai, who was temporarily unable to break through the 6th level of the heavenly source realm, instantly locked onto Leng Kang, who was taking action. Since he was bullying himself like this, and it just so happened that he had recently made a realm breakthrough, the surging power of the heavenly source of destruction had nowhere to vent. Leng Kang ran into him directly, almost directly hitting the muzzle of the gun. In Zhang Zizai's hand, the god of slaughter suddenly appeared, and the god of slaughter turned into a long sword with a majestic sword intent. At the moment when countless ice swallowed him and Leng Kang came violently with the ice and snow war halberd, Zhang Zizai moved his sword. Star God Sword Manual. The first move, Meteor. The Star God Sword Manual is a Qian level battle tactic, and its power is one level higher than that of the Kun level battle tactic. When Zhang Zizai's current power of the source of destruction is enough to support this sword, incredible power is born. In one sword, the stars shine, Zhang Zizai suddenly flies into the sky, and then the moment he falls, the sword in his hand changes suddenly. For a while, the tip of his sword shines with bright light, but under the change of his power of the source of destruction, the light directly changes to black, and the stars become black stars. A meteor falls. The piercing shrieking sound directly makes the three of them change their faces. But it's too late. The biggest feature of the meteor sword is that it's fast. When the meteors in the sky begin to fall, it means that it's almost over. The shining black star suddenly hits down, and Leng Kang quickly changes the direction of the ice and snow battle halberd, and turns to kill upwards, leading countless ice and snow to condense into sharp ice spikes, thousands of them rushing upwards. But the next moment, the stars shattered everything, countless ices shattered under the destruction of the stars, and Leng Kang was directly swallowed up. Puff! When this sound came out, it was accompanied by a cry of pain from Leng Kang, who was at the 5th level of Tianyuan realm. Bang! He was blown away, blood spurted out, and he could be seen holding his lower abdomen, which had been pierced by Zhang Zizai. Sure enough, they decided the winner in one move, but the result was not what the three of them imagined, and the lethality of the destruction of Tianyuan was not as simple as it was at the moment. At this time, Leng Kang fell to the ground in pain and was still rolling on the ground. In the sight of Leng Han and Xue Benji, Zhang Zizai landed easily and stood beside Leng Kang, smiling coldly. You are so arrogant, I really thought you were so powerful. What's wrong with the world now? With this little strength, you are still embarrassed to come out and embarrass yourself. Bullshit, what despicable means did you use? Leng Kang was still howling on the ground. Brother, kill him. Leng Han only reacted at this time under the call of his brother. He really didn't expect such a thing to happen. This was witnessed by his own eyes. Looking for death, he is in a higher realm, and the gap between each level of Tianyuan realm is very huge. Naturally, he has the confidence to crush Zhang Zizai. He obviously doesn't have such a strong realm. Why can he beat me? I think he is at most the third level of Tianyuan realm. Until this time, Leng Kang was still puzzled. But he was not worried. Even if he was injured, his brother would definitely be able to take down Zhang Zizai, and he still made a profit today. Brother, don't underestimate him. I was hit because I underestimated him, Leng Kang reminded. When the 6th level Tianyuan realm master attacked, Zhang Zizai really felt the crushing feeling. He didn't need to be so stupid as to fight this guy head on. After all, there was a 3-level gap in realm. When Leng Han came with the icy world to suppress him, he retreated directly, but in a flash he lifted Leng Kang up from his shock, and then crossed the God of Slaughter on his neck, saying, "Stop it, if you don't obey, you can only watch your brother's head fall to the ground." Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 649. "You, despicable," Xue Benji said angrily. "What a joke, you are taking advantage of the situation to rob people." Zhang Zizai laughed dumbly. He was not polite. The God of Slaughter cut Leng Kang's neck, and he could already hear his screams of pain, which forced Leng Han to stop. "You really want to die? Don't think that I can't kill you." Leng Han gritted his teeth and said. "That's easy, anyway, I can drag someone down with me." Zhang Zizai pinched Leng Kang's neck, lifted him up like a chicken, and placed him in front of Leng Han. The two of them were trembling with anger, but they couldn't do anything to Zhang Zizai. After all, they never thought that Leng Kang would be defeated so miserably, and they didn't expect that a person who was casually driven away by them could actually stalemate with them. "Open this thing first," Zhang Zizai said coldly. If he were to break this ice and snow world by himself, it would definitely take some effort. Leng Han did not respond. Zhang Zizai cut directly, causing Leng Kang to scream in pain. Leng Han had no choice but to remove the domain power of the totem. After removing it, Zhang Zizai was depressed to find that, probably because of their fight, many people appeared around them. They were all watching, and because people gathered in local areas, others came to see the excitement. In such a short time, there were already more than 20 people around. "What are you playing? What grudges do you want to settle in the ancient demon tomb?" Everyone looked like they were watching a show. Leng Han and Xue Benji gritted their teeth. They naturally didn't want others to know about Zhang Zizai's gains, but now with this group of people watching, it was obviously more difficult to get the treasure. "Excuse me, everyone. It's purely a personal grudge. This person stole our things." Leng Han bowed to everyone. "This is strange. Your people are obviously at a higher level than him, but they were held hostage." Everyone couldn't help laughing and said, watching the excitement. Leng Han's face was ashen. "Zhang Zizai, you should let my brother go. Otherwise, you will definitely end up in a bad situation." He was already very irritated by so many people watching him, and now he felt a bit like he was riding a tiger and it was difficult to get off. Zhang Zizai was stunned for a moment when he said this. In order to emphasize his tone, he even said his own name. After saying it, Leng Han regretted it. He was a little confused, so his mind was not clear for a while. He thought it was right to call his name, but he forgot that the 3 big characters on the demon tomb in front of him were Zhang Zizai. He also knew his name after seeing the demon tomb, but now he forgot it in a hurry. At first, no one realized the problem. It was only after 3 breaths that a young man asked in confusion, "Did you call his name just now?" "Zhang Zizai." Zhang Zizai. When he said this, everyone seemed to have heard it. It was indeed these 3 words. They looked back and saw these 3 words on the demon tomb. "You heard it wrong. He is Zhang He." Leng Han thought of a solution and said hurriedly. "Are you trying to fool us?" Everyone's eyes became hot. This person has never appeared in the Saint Emperor Totem world, and it is obviously not the totem of the Holy Soul. He is definitely not from the Saint Emperor Totem world. Even these three guys dared to attack him. He obviously has no background. The most important thing is, why did they attack him? It must be because he has a treasure. He is the one who just comprehended the tomb of the ancient demon Duguwazi. For a moment, countless hot eyes were cast on Zhang Zizai. Among these 30 people, there were many people in the 6th level of the Tianyuan realm. Zhang Zizai was depressed. This Leng Han was definitely a pig. Zhang Zizai was going to tell him to leave here first and solve it privately, but he leaked the matter, completely cutting off his hope of getting the treasure, and also pushing Zhang Zizai into the abyss of no return. Countless jealous eyes have already explained everything. They don't care about the life and death of the people in Zhang Zizai's hands. In this instant, when the first person reacted and launched an attack on Zhang Zizai, the others rushed over one after another. For a moment, the majestic momentum suppressed Zhang Zizai. These are all super geniuses from the major totem worlds, not ordinary totem warriors. Each of them is much stronger than Lin Feng, who was defeated by Zhang Zizai at the beginning, at least equivalent to a more powerful holy servant. For example, Leng Han, his realm is similar to Feng Xiaoao and others. For a moment, it can be said that a fatal crisis appeared on Zhang Zizai. In such a short time, his fastest reaction was to directly cast the Earth Escape magic to leave. There happened to be mountains here, which was a very suitable place for the Earth Escape magic. However, in front of this group of geniuses, the Earth Escape magic dared not look at it. In an instant, someone intercepted him in front of him and directly cut off his way forward. Don't go. For a moment, the overwhelming battle tactics were about to swallow him up in an instant. In order to compete, they didn't care about Zhang Zizai's life or death. This is the well of the divine domain. They have long been accustomed to killing people and seizing treasures. Zhang Zizai was completely depressed. At this juncture, the only thing he could do was to continuously use the power of the heavenly source to severely damage the God-guiding ring. This was the way for others to sense his danger signal. I'm going to die. Zhang Zizai was stunned for a moment. He still underestimated the tens of thousands of elites in the well of the divine domain. They were all able to comprehend the existence of the starry sky star monument. How could it be simple? Even Leng Han had the strength to kill him. Seeing that he was about to be torn into pieces, he was stunned. At this moment, there was a sudden roar of a beast, and suddenly someone rushed in. The majestic power swept out. In this instant, all the more than 30 people were blown away. Zhang Zizai was safe. Looking up, he saw a burly figure standing in front of him, saving his life. Li Zixiao. People were frightened when they saw his appearance. With such a person appearing, they had no hope. Who dares to touch the people of the hidden dragon totem world? When his voice swept across, people only trembled in their hearts. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 650. The appearance of someone like Li Zixiao directly suppressed them. If he didn't make a move, it would be fine. But once he made a move, it was already terrifying. They thought that Li Zixiao wanted to take Zhang Zizai's harvest for himself, but after hearing what Li Zixiao said, they realized in disbelief that Zhang Zizai, who could comprehend the demon tomb, was actually from the hidden dragon totem world. No wonder he had such good fortune. The way they looked at Zhang Zizai was completely different. No wonder he has such a high level of comprehension. It turns out that he is from the central totem world. Except that his realm is too low, other aspects are really amazing. How can a genius from the hidden dragon totem world have such a low realm? But he can defeat the 5th level of the heavenly source realm. Thinking that they actually wanted to compete for the treasures of the genius from the hidden dragon totem world, they panicked. When Li Zixiao came, they turned around and fled immediately after a brief shock. If they stayed here any longer, Li Zixiao would definitely not let them go. In the blink of an eye, this group of panicked people had already run away. Li Zixiao and Zhang Zizai were still here. Li Zixiao couldn't catch up alone. "Thank you very much," Zhang Zizai said sincerely. He knew in his heart that if it weren't for Li Zixiao, with his current humble attitude in the well of the divine domain, even if he had good luck, it would be difficult for him to survive. This place seems to be different from Tianxing Mountain. The ancient gods no longer guarantee everyone's right to comprehend. In this place, it seems more like the primitive law of the jungle, where the strong prey on the weak. "You're welcome," Li Zixiao smiled lightly. "Since we are destined to be together, we must help each other and take care of each other. This person thinks highly of himself, and he has a good vision. Why did you come here by chance? Have you also got it done?" Zhang Zizai asked curiously. "You have comprehended a demon tomb and have gained something, so you came to see your situation. I never expected that you could comprehend a demon tomb. Your comprehending ability is indeed extraordinary. You are the top existence in the entire God's domain. Well, you can occupy one of the 10 demon tombs, which has already explained everything. If it weren't for your lower realm, you would also be a powerful person in the God's domain." Well, Zhang Zizai smiled and nodded. The attainment in realm has its own rules, and he can't do anything about it. It is also because of this that Zhang Zizai was lucky to meet like-minded people like them in this dangerous ancient demon tomb. What is the situation of the 10 demon tombs now? Then they went to other demon tombs together, one to see if they still had hope, and the other to see if the other people in the team had gained anything. "I have come all the way here. As far as I know, I have seen that several demon tombs have been comprehended," Li Zixiao said. It turned out that the others were also so fast. Zhang Zizai thought he was fast enough. In the Saint Emperor Totem world, Zhang Fanchen has comprehended another one, and the Saint Yu Princess has also comprehended one. Xuanhuan in the Sword Soul Totem world also has one. Including you and me, there are already 5, but there are a few demon tombs that I haven't passed by, and maybe they have been comprehended," Li Zixiao said. "Are these siblings so powerful?" Zhang Zizai asked. "In terms of cultivation and talent, they are indeed good, but I don't agree with them being reduced to human beings," Li Zixiao said. "Is there still hope for your eyes to recover?" Zhang Zizai asked. "Yes, this is caused by a kind of poison, and the antidote is with them. They won't give it to me unless you completely cripple them. The 9-dragon battle formation may be a hope. Will you help me?" Li Zixiao asked. "When you go out, you rely on friends. It's right to help each other. It's just a little bit of help, of course there is no problem." "Zhang Zizai, you are really good, a straightforward person, not fussy at all, very much to my taste. If we had known each other a few years earlier, we might have been brothers now," Li Zixiao said. "A few years earlier? I was even more useless back then. How could I get in touch with someone of your level?" Zhang Zizai said with a smile. "That's not necessarily true. Although it must be very difficult for you to cultivate your realm, you will have a promising future with your comprehension. You need to be able to endure loneliness," Li Zixiao said. Zhang Zizai laughed dumbly. In fact, he didn't say that even though he chose a very high Tianyuan, his progress in realm was already very fast. They may only be able to advance 1 level in a year in the Tianyuan realm, but Zhang Zizai can do it in a month. After coming to this ancient demon tomb, he felt that it should be faster. While chatting, they were looking for a demon tomb that had not yet been comprehended. It happened that they came to a tomb of the ancient demon Huang Bufeng. This demon tomb has not been comprehended yet, so there are currently more than 10,000 people gathered here. When they first came, they could hear a lot of people discussing the demon tomb that was currently being comprehended. The name they discussed the most was Zhang Zizai, but most people didn't know who Zhang Zizai was and what he looked like. In their discussions, Zhang Zizai became a mysterious person. Zhang Zizai sensed through the divine guidance ring that their people were nearby. When the two of them approached, they happened to find that the one who stayed here to comprehend was Shen Xiao. She was also at a relatively far distance, hiding in the mountains to comprehend. She was a thoughtful person and knew that if she had a chance to succeed, she would still have to go to a safe place. Seeing that she was very serious, Zhang Zizai had the idea of playing a prank on her. He quietly appeared behind her, suddenly reached out and patted her shoulder, and then shouted in her ear. "Ah!" Shen Xiao screamed in fright and jumped up immediately. When she was about to fight back, she saw Zhang Zizai laughing, and her face flushed. She rushed over and stretched out her hand to pinch Zhang Zizai's neck. "I'll strangle you to death," she shouted. Zhang Zizai didn't expect her to be so impulsive. When she rushed over, she just didn't stand firmly, and the two fell to the ground. Shen Xiao screamed and fell into Zhang Zizai's arms, and was hit by a fragrant jade. She had a hard temper, but her body was very soft. She seemed to melt in Zhang Zizai's arms. This fall almost led to a kiss. The tempting fragrance came to his nose all at once. Zhang Zizai was stunned for a moment, and couldn't help laughing. "What? Want revenge, and force a kiss on me? You're looking for death." Shen Xiao's face flushed, and he stretched out his hand to support himself. "You don't even have the guts, you coward," Zhang Zizai said contemptuously. Shen Xiao hurriedly climbed up, his face red like an apple, and just as he climbed up, he ran into Li Zixiao, who hurriedly said, "It's okay, you can continue, I can't see it anyway." After hearing this, even her jade neck became rosy, and she could only glare at Zhang Zizai hatefully, saying, "I almost succeeded, but you ruined it all, you have to compensate me." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 651. Stop bragging, you almost succeeded. Zhang Zizai was stunned. You. She really made Zhang Zizai cry. You are so amazing. Now it was Li Zixiao's turn to be confused. It was enough that Zhang Zizai was so amazing, and now even Shen Xiao had such ability. It's still a little short, Shen Xiao said. In fact, she was not really angry with him. After all, she could just continue. She just didn't like the feeling of her heart beating wildly after being teased by her. It doesn't matter. I'll take you to the closest position, Li Zixiao said. Okay, Shen Xiao's eyes lit up. If he could get closer, it would definitely be much safer than this corner. Of course, no problem, Li Zixiao opened the way directly. With his aura and divine power, when he arrived, those who gathered in front took the initiative to make way for him. Even if she took Shen Xiao to the front, no one would have any objections. Then I'll go find Ling Xian, Zhang Zizai said. He thought that since Shen Xiao's ancestor Dragon Soul could help, then with Ling Xuan's bloodline power, it should be very likely. If she had no one to protect her and was seen by outsiders, she might face the same danger as himself. Go. She left alone. Shen Xiao knew what he was thinking, so he was not jealous. The young man is good, hugging left and right. Li Zixiao patted his shoulder. He's dreaming, Shen Xiao said. Haha, goodbye. Zhang Zizai gained something and was in a very good mood. After saying goodbye to the two of them, he went to find Ling Xian. The God Guidance Ring has a number. Li Zixiao has introduced that the feeling of approaching each God Guidance Ring is different. Zhang Zizai uses this to determine Ling Xuan's location. At present, not counting this ancient demon Huang Bufeng's tomb, there are not many demon tombs left, so it should not be difficult to find Ling Xian. After leaving here, Zhang Zizai has seen that the names of two tombstones have changed. One of the names has become Zhang Fanchen and the other has become Zhang Fangzhen. These two are quite powerful. After Zhang Zizai passed the two tombstones and reached the third area he had not been to, he encountered the instructions of the God guiding ring, that someone was here. He raised his head unintentionally and saw that the original text on the black tombstone was gone, and two words Longyan appeared instead. Longyan was Princess Lingxian. Zhang Zizai guessed well. Her top bloodline played a role again, allowing her to have a talent comparable to his own. After her bloodline power was excavated, her current cultivation level has advanced by leaps and bounds to an astonishing degree. This level of comprehension can also be ranked in the top 10 in the entire well of the divine domain. However, perhaps because it was just comprehended, the scene of this demon tomb was very chaotic. There were nearly 6,000 people gathered in a circle. In the center of this circle, something lively was obviously happening. As Zhang Zizai approached, he vaguely heard people next to him discussing. Who is this Longyan? She is not famous at all, how could she have such good fortune? Her realm is very low. I just heard someone inside say that she seems to be only at the first or second level of Tianyuan realm. It is too exaggerated for such a realm to have such a terrifying ability to comprehend. That's what they say, but the problem is, even if she can comprehend, it doesn't matter. She still can't keep it. Even if it's not the people from the blood prison totem world here, she has been exposed, and no one else will let her leave safely, a messy-haired boy said. While they were talking, Zhang Zizai was already squeezing in. What are you squeezing? People from the blood prison totem world are inside, it's not your turn. Get out of here. The people who were squeezed out by Zhang Zizai were very angry, but Zhang Zizai was definitely not polite to anyone at this time. At most, they threatened him, and they would not fight because Zhang Zizai squeezed in. After all, there were so many people here, and if they fought, they would accidentally hurt others and cause trouble. Zhang Zizai just went through this, offending people all the way but not being caught, and squeezed to the deepest part in a flash. When he reached the last encirclement, he saw Lingxian was indeed inside, but at this time, there were more than a dozen people surrounding her. These people were wearing blood-red robes with various beast patterns embroidered on them. Everyone had a strong blood aura and blood-colored lines on their bodies. They should be totem lines tattooed directly on the body. Some of these secret methods can enhance the ability of a certain part of the body. Zhang Zizai saw such a scene at first glance. There was a black iron cage with many spikes inside, making the people in the cage unable to move. There were a lot of totem lines on the spikes, and some blood was stained on them. This iron cage is a totem magic weapon. At least Kun level or above, it can completely lock people in it. What Zhang Zizai saw was that in the iron cage, there was a woman covered with blood-colored dragon scales trapped inside. Many places on her dragon scales had been pierced, and some blood had flowed out. Now she was struggling inside, and her pair of blood-red eyes looked coldly at the people outside. If she moved a little, the spikes on the iron cage would hurt her. In front of her stood a blood-colored robed boy about 14 years old. The boy's skin was very pale, just like white paper. He also had a pair of blood-colored eyes, but they were different from Lingxuan's ruby-like eyes, but bloody, fierce and cold. He was holding a space jade pendant in his hand. It belonged to Lingxian. Zhang Zizai knew it. This person put the space jade pendant away and said with a smile, "Since you are my maid from now on, then the things you got from the demon tomb will naturally belong to your master." Seeing this scene, Zhang Zizai didn't know what happened. It was obvious that they saw Lingxian comprehended the demon tomb but had no background, so they took advantage of their power and besieged her. This young boy, who was only about 14 years old, was one of the core of this group of people. Perhaps he was the one who defeated Lingxian and trapped her in this iron cage. From what he said, he would not only take Lingxuan's things, but also take her away to be his maid and become her master. No matter who this boy was, when he saw Lingxian trapped in the iron cage and lost the space jade pendant, Zhang Zizai was instantly furious. He treated Lingxian as a relative and never wanted to make her feel uncomfortable. This man was good, and he had completely angered Zhang Zizai's bottom line. The scales were almost exploded, and his eyes were instantly full of bloodshot. The cold murderous intent burned from his chest, and instantly burned into a huge fire, engulfing his spiritual will. In the rolling anger, Zhang Zizai gritted his teeth. When others did not dare to step forward, he stepped into the field and directly attracted everyone's attention. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 652. To be honest, Shen Xiao might not be so angry if he was attacked like this, because Shen Xiao is strong in heart, she has suffered a lot of such suffering, and she is not afraid at all. But the girl in front of him, in fact, she is purer than anyone else, and has always been very well behaved, and never hurt anyone. Such a person, someone actually used such a cruel method to deal with her, and even took her as a maid, treated her like a slave, and locked her in an iron cage. This is simply courting death. Zhang Zizai originally thought that in a place like the Well of the Divine Realm, with his current strength, he should keep a low profile, but now seeing this scene, seeing the young man's contented face, he thought in his heart, let Loki go to hell. He wants to kill people. The first person to see him coming was Lingxian. She originally wanted to tear the iron cage to get out, because she couldn't bear the humiliation of being treated as a trapped beast. Finally, at this time, the person she most hoped to see appeared. The Blood Prison Totem world is obviously the central totem world, and there are more than a dozen people here. Except for the 14-year-old boy, the others are all young people over 18 years old. Most of them are about the same strength as the 6 people in the Hidden Dragon Totem world. Because they are strong and have a high status, thousands of people around them dare not interfere with them, especially after they have obtained the treasure of the tombstone. They will not waste their efforts. So when Zhang Zizai appeared alone at this time and walked towards them, he attracted everyone's attention in an instant. Who is this person? What does he mean? The 3rd level of Tianyuan realm? Anyway, it's not the 4th level. This kind of bottom-ranked person came out for the Blood Prison Totem world. You will know after you take a look. Zhang Zizai also attracted the attention of the people in the Blood Prison Totem world. In addition to the boy, Zhang Zizai also saw a young man in the crowd who looked similar to the boy. He also had a pair of blood-red eyes, a slender figure, and the nails on both hands were also blood-red, and they were also very long. This person is comparable to Li Zixiao, and should be the leader of this group of people. When Zhang Zizai came in, he vaguely heard his name, which seemed to be Yi Wangsheng. After seeing Zhang Zizai, the young man standing next to the iron cage raised his eyebrows, looking at Zhang Zizai, who was more than 4 years older than him, and asked, if you come up to join in the fun at this time, you will die if you don't give a reason, do you know? Zhang Zizai glanced at Lingxian. Although she suffered a little, her emotions had stabilized after seeing Zhang Zizai. But the iron cage is an insult and absolutely unforgivable. She comprehended the demon tomb, but you forcibly snatched it away? The ancient gods are watching. It's not yours. Even if you snatch it away, it will be useless in the end, Zhang Zizai said in a deep voice. As soon as these words came out, everyone exclaimed and looked at each other. In their eyes, Zhang Zizai became a fool for a while. Only a fool would come out at this time and say such naive words. So many people laughed, including the dozen or so people in the Blood Prison Totem world. They laughed so hard that they fell backwards, treating Zhang Zizai like a big fool, especially the young man who almost bent over with laughter. I need to explain, I didn't take it away by force, I made a bet with her, she used the proceeds from the demon tomb as the bet, I couldn't do anything. Besides, she said she was willing to be my maid if she lost. I actually have no interest in her, but people should keep their words, right? The young man with bloodshot eyes laughed dumbly. He was content, but Zhang Zizai was not stupid, he must know that his so-called bet must have been forced by him to do so. They are a group of people comparable to the lineup of the hidden dragon totem world. It is not easy to bully Ling Xian. Just when he was still laughing and thinking about how to deal with Zhang Zizai, the young man suddenly took out a bow and an arrow from the space jade pendant in the spotlight. He said, "I just comprehended a demon tomb. Here are the Holy Soul Sky Bow and soul-piercing heart arrow I got from the demon tomb." As soon as he said this, the laughter stopped abruptly. Everyone looked at Zhang Zizai in shock, and they were speechless for a while. He comprehended the demon tomb, which was not important. What was important was that the Holy Soul Sky Bow and soul-piercing heart arrow he took out were not fake, but real. Treasures of this level are indeed comparable to those produced by other demon tombs at present. For example, they are not inferior to the treasures obtained by Ling Xian in this demon tomb. "Oh, what do you want to do?" The boy was stunned for a moment, and then asked excitedly, his eyes could no longer leave the Holy Soul Sky Bow. "I also want to have a bet with you. If I lose, these two treasures will belong to you," Zhang Zizai said. His words did not surprise people. People could see this daring man and actually knew that his purpose was probably like this, otherwise he would not have to take out such treasures. "What if you win?" the boy asked with great interest. "You let her go," Zhang Zizai said. People finally understood that this guy who was suspected to have also comprehended the demon tomb was actually in the same group with this strange girl. The young man thought for a while, he turned around and looked at the leader of the blood prison totem world, and asked, "Brother, sister-in-law, what do you think?" His brother was none other than Yi Wangsheng, and Zhang Zizai estimated that he was the equivalent of Li Zixiao. Next to this man, there was a red-haired girl. The girl looked very charming, with a seductive look, soft and charming. She leaned softly on Yi Wangshen's body, and at this time she smiled and said, "Someone sent a treasure to my door, so of course I accepted it with joy." Idiot. The girl's name was Lu Hongyan, and she was Yi Wangshen's woman at first glance. The blood-eyed young man understood. He turned around and looked at Zhang Zizai, and said, "You are really an infatuated man. In order to save her, you even took out such a treasure. Do you have the courage to eat it?" Zhang Zizai asked with bloodshot eyes and a ferocious face. "Actually, I'm not interested in this treasure." The bloodshot boy suddenly shook his head and faced everyone around him. His face was still a little immature, but at this time he said in a very mature tone, "But, everyone, I am moved by the bravery of this hero. To be honest, I envy their love. They are like my brother and sister-in-law. I am willing to give such a brave person a chance to save the person he likes, so I reluctantly agreed." "Yi Kangsheng, you did a good job." "Yes, he should be given the opportunity to pursue love." Some people like to join in the fun, so they deliberately laughed. "So, you can be a hero and save the beauty." The bloodshot boy smiled at Zhang Zizai.